Race doesn't matter. Race doesn't matter. They shouted it, the chant built, and it spread throughout the room. Standing at the foot of the stage in a ballroom just blocks from the state capitol, Obama's pollster, Cornell Belcher, who is African American, watched it unfold with astonishment. I talked to him after the election was over, and he described the night. Here you are, he said, in South Carolina, 3 blocks from where the Confederate flag is still flying in front of the state capitol and all the history that is held in that state. And you have a group of young white people shouting, race doesn't matter. Now, do they think there is no racism? No. But were they screaming and shouting the world they wanted to exist? Yeah. That is powerful and profound and very different, he said. Now, this may have been the only night during the course of the campaign where anyone believed that race indeed did not matter. Certainly the candidate at the center of all the euphoria did not believe it. Obama, like every other elected official in the United States, was keenly aware of how much the nation's mood swings on race could determine the outcome of a competitive election. Sometimes race helped, and sometimes it hurt, but it always mattered. So Barack Obama had a plan. He was going to get elected, as were all of these breakthrough candidates, by trying to minimize difference, by trying to convince as many voters as he could, which, by the way, he won more white voters than John Kerry did in 2004, so he obviously succeeded at this. He was going to convince as many voters as he could that he was on their side. That's how you get elected, race aside. So what did he do? He assumed that race was a given, that people knew what he looked like. They knew who he was. He didn't fudge it. He didn't call himself biracial, even though his mother is white and his father is black. He called himself African American. But he didn't talk about it. As much as possible, he did not talk about it. When he was asked about it, when Jeremiah Wright, the preacher, came out and started losing his mind, he was forced to talk about it, and that's when he gave that single big speech on race in Philadelphia. He had to explain himself out of a corner, and that's the only reason. I have a 12-year-old godson who I remember saying to him at one point, look, it's a black president. And his response was, can I go play now? With his Latino friends and his Asian friends and his white friends. One of the reasons why the conversation has moved away from race with these kids is because their parents created a world that allowed it to. They gave them the luxury of not thinking about it all the time. They gave them the opportunity to focus on broader things. It doesn't mean that they're unaware of who they are or what they can be. In fact, they're probably more aware of what they can be. But it's just not the driving factor. It's there, but it's not the driving factor. I think we're on a path. We're traveling a path. And as long as we're heading in the right direction, that's good enough with me. My problem is we all grew up at a time we weren't necessarily moving forward or heading in the right direction. I like the idea we're moving forward. That's fine by me.